All right. It's Kevin and Brian. We're here for episode 24 of the Wait for It Seattle podcast. We might have some new listeners this week. We added a handful of subscribers to the Substack.
Nice.
Um, I don't know why, but there was an influx this week. Um, w Brian, this is a big
You're
deal
right
for
there,
you.
Kev.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a big deal for you. It's November 18th and you are not coaching. Instead, you're chatting with me.
It's true.
I'm not saying that chatting with me is better because I think people could
Well,
be
in fairness, Kev, I'm not coaching high school today for the first time since the
times.
year 2000. I
I'm not
did
gonna,
coach fifth
yeah.
grade CYO basketball
So
today,
you are
and
coaching.
it was uh, a disaster. So
Yeah, you were
it's all
the,
good.
I mean, you're probably more of a disaster than, yeah, I'll probably
It
just
might
leave it
it
there.
might have been me being the disaster. I don't know,
Yeah,
but it's okay. They're learning
yeah.
basketball. It's all good.
Well,
We're episode 24, the Ken Griffey Jr. episode,
yeah,
the
Luke,
Marshawn Lynch episode.
that's a big
The
deal.
Spencer Haywood episode, 24 might be the best number in Seattle sports history.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if we let anybody down on their Monday morning commutes, but sometimes life just happens. We're getting into a busy part of the year, right? Like there's like things going on. There's activities. There's like social. You have kids, so there's like s- and you're a teacher, so everyone's
Yeah.
trying to cram things in before Thanksgiving break, or people are trying to do like social things.
Yeah,
And
we're going to get
so
our podcast to people early in the week. That's what we can promise.
yeah, that I think
Yeah, as a promise.
that's a
The other
fair
promise I
promise.
made to you is that because we're still working in the kinks of the intro music, that I was going
Yeah.
to rap to open us up today. But I won't do that. Although I will tell you that at one point, right after college, I did develop a rap name for myself.
Oh, what was your rap name?
Vanilla Gorilla.
Vanilla Gorilla. Okay, I have something embarrassing to share.
That's pretty embarrassing to share. So
Yeah,
I don't know you could top that.
I got a better one.
Okay.
White, but not white. That was one of
That was one of yours? Oh boy. I'm not touching that, Kev. Woo! Okay. Moving on to what we're doing. Segment one today.
my.
We're gonna do something a little different.
Tell me.
So here's the plan. We're going to do a draft again. Drafts are fun. I don't know if
Yeah.
people like listening to them, but I think they're fun. I'm the kind of guy who listens to mock draft podcasts. So
Oh
my
God.
perspective is probably skewed. Like I'm in August. Like I really want to listen to a fantasy football mock draft podcast. I might be one of one in that. But we're gonna draft individuals for the week to make all-star teams.
Yeah, they have to be athletes though, right? Like nothing outside of like.
You can include coaches.
Okay.
I mean, I would accept like a fan base if it made sense. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
we want to hit the highlights of the week by drafting an all-star team.
Yeah.
So because I'm a respectable person and because I'm confused by your rap name, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. I gotta go with
Skylar Diggins Smith. Oh no. Okay.
no, absolutely not. Um, does this count?
You're already making it
Husky
hard.
Stadium.
Yeah, that's why I left it open because I
Yeah,
thought you might go to one of these. All right,
yeah.
tell me why you're picking Husky
Yeah,
Stadium.
because the Huskies have won 20 straight
Mm,
games at home, which is insane.
that
Here's
is
what's
that is
insane
really cool.
about it.
That's
So
really cool.
there's a lot of chatter about the SEC and whether a three loss team can make the playoff. And someone made an astute comment about how the SEC plays like these cupcake games against like they basically play one less conference game than like if you were in the Big Ten, the Big
Mm,
12. Um, and that got me thinking, well, maybe that's why Georgia has been, well, Georgia's Georgia, right? So I'm not
yeah.
going to take anything away from Georgia. But like the Huskies have had to play some damn good teams at home, like in the country, right? Like Oregon, um, who else besides Oregon? Like
That's all you got.
Michigan, like USC. I read somewhere this was like the first time in a long time they beat both UCLA and USC. Just like so many games, like even like in 2023, I'm not gonna re-announce and recap like all those crazy games from 2023, but just like 20 games that stretches all the way back to 2021, I think.
Yep.
And a Friday night game in Seattle, I was a little worried people weren't going to show up. I think the announced crowd was 68,000. So either 68,000 people were really hyped about a couple things. The black uniforms, which looked great.
They did look nice.
World of Warcraft theme night.
What the hell was that?
It was an NIL ploy.
I mean, I
Apparently,
know what
yeah.
Warcraft is, but
Yeah.
I've
Uh,
never played it. But
the best part was they had cosplayers. You know what these are?
yes,
Like, yeah,
yes.
yeah. So you probably like are into like a Boba Fett cosplay or something.
Wow.
Um,
Okay. Like shots fired. I don't really
yeah.
know. Go ahead.
So the cosplayers were like posting on their like social media accounts, and I retweeted a couple of these because I thought they were hilarious. Like, thank you UW football for such a great night, and they
It's
were like
amazing.
just dressed in their costumes, they're like totally out of place. Like, think about these guys were dressed up in costumes running out with the team.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, I think this makes it worse. I don't think this is a good argument
Yeah.
for taking them with your first pick.
Anyways,
The
68,000 on a Friday night in Seattle at 6 o'clock. Like, getting anywhere in Seattle at 6 o'clock, and I don't live in Seattle. But don't you think that's
No,
kind
it
of
was it
difficult?
was it was nuts. Like
Yeah.
I don't even remember where I was going, but I was driving somewhere where I hit the traffic
Oh
and
yeah.
it was a little nutty to try and get around. I was going
Yeah.
to a high school state soccer game, which is
Okay.
pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I had to drive past the traffic and yeah, people were going early. Like it was 4:45 and everybody was walking in the stadium, which is great. I mean, on Saturday
Yeah.
they're tailgating early.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little information, Kev, Georgia's home winning streak is still pretty impressive. So in
Yeah.
2023, they beat at home the number 20 team in the country at the time, number 12, number 9,
Yeah.
all at home, right? So they beat three ranked teams, which I'm guessing the Huskies have not. They beat number 1 Tennessee in 2022 at home. That's all part of their winning streak. So
Yeah.
you're right. Georgia has done some pretty ridiculous stuff. They're obviously Georgia. They're
Yeah.
nuts. By the way, they play Massachusetts this week, which does go to your other point of like, what the hell? Why are you
Yeah.
playing
I
Massachusetts?
mean, the Huskies got lucky this year. They had Indiana and Penn State on the road
Yeah.
and Oregon, but then they did have to take care of a Michigan team, which at the time was like ranked number 10.
Yep.
And then I'm looking at 2023. They had to beat 18 Utah at home, number 5 Oregon at home, and then they had the rivalry against Wazoo, which is always hard. And then 2022,
And the Wazoo one was like,
yeah.
a neutral site. I mean, they've had some good breaks. Next year they will play Oregon, Ohio State, Rutgers, Illinois, all at home. So
So obviously
it'll
Oregon
be
and Ohio
tested.
State will
It'll be
be,
tested.
yeah, yeah,
Also, get your tickets.
yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? That sounds pretty awesome. They also play Purdue at home and they play UC Davis in Colorado State.
Well, you
Colorado
know what's
State's going to sneak
not
in too.
happening compared to our friends at CenturyLink? I don't think Husky season ticket holders are like rationing their tickets off to
You mean
opposing fan base.
Lumen Field? They have
Lumen
not been
Field.
CenturyLink
Do you
in a
call
while.
them CenturyLink? Oh my
The
God.
clink. I liked it when it was the clink. That was good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do my pick. That was a good pick, Kev. I agree. It was a good environment. Um, can I go a little bit rogue for my team of the week? Abraham Lucas.
Abe Lucas coming off of the injury.
So
What'd you
this
think of his
is yeah,
performance?
this is where I am right now with the Seahawks. First of all, my prediction was that they were going to get slaughtered, which I mean, what Seahawks fan thought they were going in San Francisco and winning or Santa Clara? You did? You thought they were going to win? You're
I have
always
so,
optimistic. You're
no,
pretty
no, I have
optimistic.
something to share with you.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Christine read your post.
Oh,
So
thanks,
she
Christine.
she doesn't read anything I write. And she's like, because she's on Instagram, so she clicked the link and she
Yep.
said, I actually learned something from his post. And then after the game, she was all mad. She goes, I feel betrayed. That was
Oh,
horrible analysis.
oh, damn. Well, first of all, Christine, I'm not sure it was terrible analysis. I think the analysis was fine. First of all, I said the player trending down for the Niners, Deebo Samuel. My man had
Yeah.
4 catches for 22 yards, right?
Yeah,
So not bad. I said the Seahawks needed to win the running game on defense.
they
That was
did.
that was the best performance we've seen from the Seahawks defense. So maybe Christine needs to be a little bit more advanced in her football reading. Oh God, I'm gonna get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Um, I appreciate you reading, Christine. You're not listening to the podcast, so we're fine. Abe Lucas has been sitting out all year. It's been frustrating not having him, obviously.
Yeah.
He comes in. If you look at the Pro Football Focus scores for offensive grades, he has the third best offensive grade of anybody on the team.
Is
His
is the snap count in front of you,
He had 42 snaps.
which is like the
They gave
most?
it's they were 60 total.
Okay.
So Cross had 60. Olu, the center, had 60, who, by the way, had the best score of anybody on the line, which is interesting with Connor Williams retiring. Um, Pass blocking and run blocking, Abe Lucas was above average. Like his grades are in the 70s.
Yeah.
For perspective, Charles Cross was in the 60s. He's our best lineman. Um, for better perspective, the people I'm not big fans of, Laken Tomlinson and Anthony Bradford are in the 50s and 40s. So we still have a guard problem. So Abe
Yeah.
Lucas comes off the bench and he was great. And I know that Bosa got hurt, and that's a big part of what happened. I saw a tweet today that said the Seahawks scored 20 points all when Bosa was not on the field,
Yeah.
which is a little deceiving. Okay, so they kicked field goals when he's not on the field. Got it. Like that's stupid stat. But the point is they changed how they played. But I think Abe Lucas was a big part of it. Like he brought some stability. It was really nice to see Geno have a clean pocket. So I'm going Abe Lucas.
Abe Lucas.
Your turn.
Dude, I'm gonna stay with the Seahawks. Geno Smith. All right. If you were on Twitter or if you were like me testing out the blue sky,
I am on Blue Sky. I'm off Twitter.
oh, great. You have to follow me.
You have
I'll
to
follow you
follow me.
back. Yeah. Wow. Wow, you're blue skying without me.
Sorry, Kev.
Um,
I should have told you.
uh, I'm trying to get people to move from Twitter to Blue Sky. So I'm posting GIFs of blue skies on Twitter without
that's
explicitly saying it.
that's kind of awesome, Kev.
Someone
Nice work.
messaged me like, "What's up with the cryptic like blue sky thing?" And I was like, "I'm trying to get people to move over without
You are
explicit."
like Skylar Diggins Smith. Did you
Yeah.
see that she cryptically put Euphoria lyrics from
Oh
Kendrick
my God.
Lamar?
Oh, it's over. I hope they she's definitely not going to get protected in the expansion draft now.
Uh can we talk about this really quick, even though it's
Yeah.
not part of our draft? I'm not
Yeah.
drafting her, so the Storm are a mess.
Yeah.
Skylar Diggins Smith, objectively, this is not a subjective comment. Objectively, there has been drama where she's been the
Yeah.
last 5 years, 4 years. I don't know the exact time frame, right?
Yeah.
Is the drama always her fault? I don't know. I'm not on the inside circle. But
Yeah.
objectively, it is fair to say that drama seems to be where she is. So
Yeah.
there was drama in Phoenix. It was about the coach, then it was about a teammate, then it was about whatever. In Seattle, if you watch her play, there seems to be she's the player that's always like review this and it's never correct. Don't review
Yeah.
it, right? She's very emotional. She says that. That's fine. But I don't know. When you have maybe the nicest person in the league who's also a superstar in your team, like locked out of meetings, and you have beef with her and you unfollow each other on social media,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm going to take the player rep, NECA, and I'm going to take NECA, who is considered one of the like kindest people by
Yeah.
all accounts and a great player. So
Yeah.
yeah, not good. Not good for
Yes.
the Storm. I agree with
Skylar,
you. They can't,
they will not
but
protect
I
her.
don't know if they're going to have the same coach. I mean, whew.
Yeah.
All right, Geno
Um,
Smith.
Geno Smith.
That's
Okay,
where we
so
were before we got on
yeah.
a tangent.
Basically people wanted him like I guess this probably happens every game and sometimes I'm not on social media when this happens,
Yeah.
but like he had a bad interception. And
Hmm.
then people were like, I'm so sick of it. Like, he's so bad. Like, it's not the offensive line. Like, he had
Yeah.
protection. He had lots of time. He just threw it to the other team, et cetera, et cetera. And then he comes in the second half, in the fourth quarter, and literally puts the team on his back. Doesn't like he literally runs the team to victory
Yeah.
in with time winding down. Really Russell Wilson-esque, like not
It
Russell
was. I
Wilson,
agree.
but it
Yeah.
was like there weren't Grubb didn't scheme his way to victory. Like that was someone
No, Geno
managing
won
the
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
managing the clock and then just moving the football and being aware of the time and he just did so well. Like they tried to write him off.
Yeah.
He didn't write back.
That's right.
So, I mean, he
Uh,
won the game for them.
yeah,
I think.
Geno
Yeah.
is a great choice for sure.
Yeah.
I have conflicting views on Geno, but I'm not in the group that you talk about, and I see it on social media. There's a group who's just anti-Geno. I
Yeah.
think there was less of a group anti-Russ till the end. Everybody was kind of on the Russ train.
Yeah.
Although it started to turn. I think quarterbacks always turn to a certain extent. There's probably a segment of people in New England who are ready for Brady to move on, right? It's just the nature of fandom on social media. But you're right. There's a larger than should be group that's anti-Geno. I'm not anti-Geno. I will say this. When they got the ball in the last drive, I did not think he was going to go on down and win the game. And I thought to myself, what I really want is that belief in a guy that can go do that. Now, there are not that many dudes in the league who you give you that belief.
Yeah.
But Prime Russ did give you that belief. Like I always believe Russ
Yeah.
is going to win it in that 4 or 5 year window. I think if I had Joe Burrow, I'd believe it, even though it doesn't happen all the time. They're 4-7, right?
Yeah.
I think even to a certain extent, Herbert, although his fans probably don't, certainly Mahomes, Josh Allen proved it this week, right? But there are people who are mad at Lamar Jackson. He's like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So it was awesome. Totally agree with you. Geno did it. Um, I'm going to segue it into my pick because I told you last week on the podcast, as an opposing fan, the thing that drives me nuts. If I was a Niners fan, those three scrambles by Geno, including the game winning touchdown, would have driven me crazy.
And it's not like Geno Smith is like Kyler Murray or Lamar
Right.
Jackson. Like it's a kind of a little different.
It was awesome. It was cool. It was so cool. And then to give him the Steph Curry night celebration to the crowd,
Oh, it's so
it
sweet.
was the best.
Yeah.
Gino is rad. Actually, Bill Simmons had on his podcast, um, obviously national writer, the Ringer owner or the
Yeah.
Ringer, whatever. He said the cool thing about Geno Smith is that he has sort of like this unwavering confidence in himself, which is clear. Like if you listen to his press conferences, he talks about it. So like his celebrations, like the night is like not. It's like, oh, just forget the fact that I threw a terrible interception and I've
Yeah.
lost the Niners 5 in a row. I'm going to give
Yeah.
you the most ruthless celebration
Yeah.
that it's going to humiliate you.
Yeah.
And that's cool about Gino. Like he's
And
a cool
he's
dude.
unlike the lame Penn State player that celebrated for doing nothing. Like Geno
Yeah.
Smith won the
Don't
game.
don't get me started. But I will transition to college because what excites me about quarterbacks, as you know, Kev, is unscripted run plays.
Oh
So
yeah.
Damon Williams is getting drafted to Elsinopolis this week.
Yeah, dude.
I'm in, baby. Like
Yeah.
let me tell you, I'm also not in on Will Rogers,
Yeah.
which I don't think anybody is, including the coaching staff. Do I have that
Well,
right?
yeah, so in the first half, I got in an argument in our Husky group text with my brother-in-law about who they should start against Oregon. And then Will Rogers threw the second interception. And then I said, yeah, I lose the argument. You're totally correct. Like we should just start Demond. He should play the rest of the season.
Yeah, his last two
Yeah.
picks, Will Rogers,
They were bad.
they were bad. They were not fifth year senior throws.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I love Damon Williams because he brings that
Yeah.
element of surprise slash oh crap if you're an opposing fan, which is how the Niners felt. Like I don't know. I love it. Am I right that they named him the starter for this week against Oregon?
They didn't.
Oh,
So
okay.
Fish is like basically saying like why would I name a starter? Like Oregon has to prep for two offenses,
That's fair.
right? Um I do
Williams is
what?
gonna play more, though, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
Although, if
It's
it's Oregon, you
hard.
can make an argument to say like why. Like, don't
Yeah,
crush his confidence. Oregon's just gonna be amazing, right?
yeah. I mean, even if Damon plays, I think like Will's got to be ready to go.
Yeah,
So I ultimately like now when I think about it, I don't really care who starts.
yeah,
And you're playing with house money at this point, right? Like you got your bowl game.
yeah, baby. You're going to the Nabisco Shredded Wheat Bowl or something.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Las Vegas Bowl would be nice
Would
because
be
the old
nice.
Pac-12, they still get to play in their same bowl games.
Oh,
So Colorado and Oregon are, let's say Colorado wins the Big 12, which is the total possibility at this point. That could put Huskies in Vegas. You get a nice little like classic Pac-12 bowl.
yeah.
What else? Sun
Vegas Bowl would
Bowl.
be great.
Yeah.
Sun Bowl. Everybody loves the Sun Bowl, except for people who have to go to the Sun Bowl. Isn't it like in El Paso or something?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, nobody wants to go there. All right, your pick.
Oh gosh. Who do I pick? You picked Demond. I was gonna pick Demond. Um, hmm. Great Osobor.
No,
Yes.
tell me about it.
Yes. He has this thing, and I think this is gonna be how like what watching him is gonna be like all season. He looked like not that impressive in the Huskies' squeaky win against UMass Lowell, which
Who Gonzaga beat by
with
70 or
70,
something?
that's all I could think about is like, oh my God, Gonzaga beat them by like 70 points and we like
You'd have one
Huskies
by
will barely
four.
won by four. Okay. Part of the reason they won was Osobor was 23 points, 18 rebounds.
He did have a career high in rebounds, yes.
Yeah. So what's interesting is I love Sprinkle's style because in pressers, he just calls out his players
Hmm.
like and just says, yeah, so and so played bad. He said Osobor should have went 35 and 25, like if he was playing at
Oh,
max effort.
oh, interesting.
And it kind of reminds me of Josh Smith from Kentwood High School back
Mm.
in around
Oh
when I
yeah.
was in high school.
Yeah.
When you watched him play, you're like, he's really not that good. How is he like a five-star recruit that's going to go to Georgetown or UCLA or wherever he started his career at? I
Yeah.
think it was UCLA. And then you'd look at the stat sheet and be like, holy crap, he had like 25 rebounds and 20
Wait,
points.
can I just tell you that you
Yeah.
drafted a guy that you that you said the coach thinks isn't good enough and doesn't look that good to you when you watch?
Yeah. But he went 23 and 18, which
Yeah.
I'm excited about his potential. And he won Mountain West Player of the Year last year, and he's going to be in the Big Ten. And I think that the Husky basketball team is as good as him. I kept on saying it in the second when I was watching the game yesterday. I kept on thinking like this team does not gel at all. Like the
Yeah.
offense has no rhythm. The guards are jacking up bad shots.
Mm.
A part of the issue is these guys got a bunch of transfers that average like 20 to 15 points per game on like kind of mid-major squads.
Yep.
And the issue with that is that these guys are used to having to try to make difficult shots. Like here, like you want to be making easier shots. You want to be creating easy shots, right?
This
And none
actually
of
makes
these
me feel
guys,
better about my
yeah,
fifth grade team.
yeah, none of these guys are like it's just not there yet. So I really think the offense can be really simple. Like you just feed the post, right? Wait for the double and have
I
them
had a
pass
great
out and create
conversation
offense.
with somebody this weekend about that who was
Yeah,
really mad that basketball has moved away from throwing in the post. He's a Kansas fan,
yeah,
and he's like, I watch these guards jack up threes all over the place, and why don't they throw in the post? And it's analytics. It's threes worth more than two, even if you miss a bunch of threes.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. Yeah,
You
that's
tell me,
interesting.
but doesn't the post open up?
Oh, I love throwing in the post. You know
Yeah,
that.
but doesn't it open up your 3-point shooting a little more
Yeah, it's just the time it takes, right?
to
To
kick it
do
back
it
out?
and do all
Yeah,
it's a different
yeah.
style of basketball.
I get it.
I am open to the idea that somebody could play counter to that, right?
Yeah,
And the Huskies might have to. because
Yeah.
they were losing at halftime to Seattle Pacific. Everyone looks at the final score and says, "Oh, they won by 18, whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah, they were down like 12 at half
Yeah.
against Seattle Pacific, who's not Division 1.
Were
And
you
then
able
they
to? Yeah, go ahead.
barely beat UMass Lowell. I have not watched them. I would like to, but I also now am annoyed and I don't want to.
Yeah. I
But
just
I
want,
would rather watch
yeah.
them than my alma mater, who's really sucking, as you told me. So
Oh my
we'll leave it at
God.
that.
They're
Santa
broken.
Clara comes in with hopes of a tournament berth, gone. Anyway, I'm gonna draft. All right, I'm going to hockey, Kev. I know you don't watch hockey.
It's true.
Sorry. I like that you admitted it. It's hard for me to pick. Let's let's go. Okay, let me give you a little context first, if that helps. So the Kraken had that road trip we talked about last week, right?
Yeah.
And they lost four in a row. And I think I talked about, yeah, I talked about this on the podcast. And they benched one of their best players and they responded. And this week they went out and they beat Vegas before we recorded last week. Then they beat Columbus, Chicago, and the Islanders. And there were three like really good wins. They lost the Rangers 2-0 on a back-to-back. I'm hoping it's a one-time thing. But I think I'm going to go with my man Brandon Tanev.
Brandon Tanev, can you share
Do you
his
know
background?
anything about Brandon Tanev?
No, share his background.
Okay. Well, first I'm going to tell you what he did this week, but I got to make sure I pull it up here. Okay. So Brandon Tanev, well, I will give you his background. So he got drafted in the expansion draft he's been a Kraken since the beginning. This week he had two goals against Vegas. That was last week when we talked about it. He followed up with a goal against Columbus and a goal against Chicago and two assists against the New York Islanders. Tanev is a guy who is like a total hard worker. Like um I'm trying to think of like a comparison. Like I wanted to say Danny Fortson in basketball. Like remember when Danny Fortson played for the Sonics and he averaged like 12 rebounds a game and he couldn't score?
And
Like,
and a technical.
yeah. Well, Tano's kind of like that. He's kind of he will fight, but like he just does dirty work.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's not skilled in the way that like Matty Beniers is, but he just plays his butt off. So in the first season, when I was watching hockey, I'm like, I love Brandon Tanev. His
yeah,
nickname is Turbo because of how he plays, like a turbo boost, right?
yeah.
The cool thing about Brandon Tanev, background wise, is he every year takes a picture in the media guide with like the buggiest eyes. I don't know how else to describe it to you. I'm gonna have to share my screen, and other people are gonna have to Google his picture so that you can see it. I'm gonna share it with you right now. Everybody else, if you haven't looked, you have to reply to my request that I can share. Okay. If you haven't seen Brandon Tanev, you have to Google it while we're doing it. Okay. Can you see this picture of him right here with his eyes? That's what he does every year in his media photo for like 5 straight years. So he's just like an entertaining dude who's just like, yeah, big eyes, and he just like stares at the screen. He has a twin brother who plays in the league as well. Um,
So it's fun.
he's fun. He's super
Mm.
fun. Like if I ever was gonna get a jersey, I always told Dana like I'm gonna get a Tanev jersey, and I'm back on that bandwagon. I'm like, let's go. Tanev is just getting goals when they need it. He's just doing dirty work, and he plays on like the third or fourth line, which doesn't get a lot of ice time. And they've been kicking ass. It's really cool to watch. Go Kraken. Go Brendan Tanev. He's on my team.
Shout out to the
Yeah, we're gonna
Kraken.
do one more each. We're gonna go four.
Okay, we're gonna go four.
Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, dude, I I really like Jonah Coleman.
Yeah,
I
do
think
it.
he's just so awesome. He wasn't like the star of the game.
Right.
The star of the game was Russell Davis, who I'm not going to draft, but Russell Davis was injured for most of the season. Then he got like a huge strip fumble,
Yeah.
and but I'm pulling up
Russ Davis,
Yeah.
former Seattle Mariner, third baseman.
Oh, dude, that's a pull.
Yeah,
That's great.
I always thought
Yeah.
Russ Davis was gonna be really good.
Um, I think Coleman had two touchdowns. Let's see here. I'm pulling up the box score.
He
He had
had
98 yards
98 yards. Yep. Yep.
and two touchdowns.
I'm
What?
pulling it up up as well.
One
He
touchdown
had
for
he had
15-yard run.
two
Yeah.
rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. two
Yep,
yard
and
run.
one catch, 10 yards.
Yeah.
He had another great game. You texted me during the game. He went over 1,000 yards. Remember
Yeah.
over under.
Yeah.
He hit the over.
And I have this theory that I wrote up that he was injured. I think he was banged up, and that's
Jedfish
why.
has said it now.
Yeah, he said he was injured, like
Yeah,
straight
he
up.
said.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing I don't understand about that.
Yeah.
This is probably dumb on my part because
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. But so if you're gonna throw him out there for 14 carries and he's playing injured, just have him do 20 carries.
Yeah. What's the difference between six more carries?
That's what I'm saying. If you're playing a
Yeah.
football game, it's not like you're like, well, he's gonna play only the second half,
Yeah.
right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like he's getting banged up, but maybe he had an injury where
Yeah.
contact
Here,
needs to be limited. I don't
here's
know. It's just weird to
what
me.
I'm most excited about. He's probably coming back next season. Someone asked him straight up, "Is he coming back?" And Fish said 90% sure. So
Yeah, Kev, we
90%.
covered this last
Yeah.
week.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm just really excited about it.
I'm glad you're excited.
Yeah. Do you think he's making like $1 million? He probably makes a little
I
more.
think you hit it last week. You said
Yeah.
what had to have happened is NIL money.
Yeah.
But you also pointed out the draft class.
Ashton
Class.
Jaunty, Kyle guy.
Yeah, but
Like,
also like right, the counter would be as a running back, you have to go get in the NFL.
yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe
He'll
he's
get a
getting it.
little higher draft pick, a little more guaranteed money.
Yeah, it's
And
tricky because you have to get in the NFL because you don't have very long as a running back, right? Your
yeah,
body.
I get
But
it.
also they don't draft running backs because of the same reason. They could just pick people up.
Yeah.
So to make a team, you need to be like a fifth rounder or something if you're Jonah Coleman. A sixth rounder is probably I don't think he's going higher than that. I don't think he looks like a first rounder to me. Well, nobody who's running back's a first rounder.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's tricky. I guess go get your money in college, man. Go get your money,
Yeah.
Jonah. Get a little extra money.
Yeah.
I would be happy if he came back. Him and Damon Williams, let's go. And whatever else the
And
Huskies
Denzel
throw together.
Boston. Yeah.
Is
Let's
Boston going to
go.
come back?
Yeah. Well, I was looking at top 10 wide receivers. He's not on there. So I think if he has another year to improve his stock, I think he's coming back.
I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
All right. Who's your last person
Oh man,
or thing? I
this
chose
is
a stadium.
yeah. Well, I was really excited to pick a women's basketball player from the Huskies, but they lost to Montana on the road, so I'm depressed about them now. Like that loss could also mean a tournament berth. That sucks. You know, that
Yeah.
bums me out. I'm kind of bummed out by basketball in the city right now. So can I go a double Felix Ichiro?
Oh yeah.
Officially nominated for the Hall of Fame. This is kind of cheating, but
No, no, I don't think it is.
um,
The
I
campaign
mean,
started too.
I would pick Felix, but for obvious reasons. But the
Yeah.
Felix Ichiro combo, which we've covered on this podcast before, is exciting.
Yeah.
I don't think Felix is going to make it. Ichiro is 100% going to make it next year.
Yeah.
But how
Do
cool would
you,
it be if they both got in? That'd be
do you
incredible.
feel like so I definitely feel like there's a reasonable case that could be made for Felix. Like not
Yes.
a great case, but a reasonable case where it's not insane if they run the numbers and put together like how he compares over, his run of success compares to other Hall of Fame pitchers. Um, but I like wish we could time travel and see like how we felt about Edgar when he first went on the ballot because it just seemed like he wasn't gonna make the Hall of Fame. He didn't have the numbers.
See,
And
that's
then
what's
it
funny
took
is
a very long time, but eventually people were like, yeah, he's the best DH to ever play the game. It makes total sense for him to be in the Hall of Fame. And here's how he compares over a run of however many years compared to other hitters, and he is actually great.
I felt that Edgar did have the numbers and Edgar should be in right away.
Yeah.
But that might have been right my
Bias.
bias as growing up, and that's what I saw was like peak Edgar. Felix is similar, but it's just tricky, like for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
And we've
his
talked
peak
about it
was
too.
so short, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. So
Yeah.
I wish he just could have had a couple more years, some more wins.
It,
His one Cy Young, his six All-Star games, two runner-up Cy Youngs. That's all good. Two ERA titles,
a perfect game.
a
Like,
perfect game, but a record of 169 and 136.
but like
And
counting stats are
career ERA,
broken.
but a career ERA of 3.42 does not like jump immediate Hall of
Yeah.
Famer. So,
Yeah.
but his peak was so ridiculous
Yeah.
that, and I think that the Hall of Fame voters will have to start considering peaks for pitchers because they don't have longevity anymore.
Yeah. The counting stats aren't like 300 wins. Like, no one's going to get there anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, you
there's
have
a
to be a
couple guys
total
that
unicorn.
could, right, but they're
Yeah. They're
but I
unicorns.
mean
Like, you're
they're
not going to have that many Hall of
so many
Famers.
surgeries and
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw is a great example. He's like phenomenal. He's just hurt every single year.
Yeah.
Um, so hopefully, so that makes me feel like Felix won't get in now, but maybe as time goes on and people consider peaks more important, he'll get in. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's go to our segment two. We'll do it quick,
Yeah.
but I think it's a fun one this week. So we're just going to talk about Seattle area
Announcers.
announcers.
Yeah.
And the context for this is you love Dave Sims.
I don't love Dave Sims. Um, but I think like it's kind of crazy. Like I love him because he was here for so long and he was like decent at what he did. Now,
So people say
you
about my
laugh.
teaching career.
Yeah.
You've just been around
So,
so long and
yeah.
you're decent.
Yes.
Don't agree. It was a joke.
Um
You kept saying, yeah, stop it.
uh I want to shout out to Patrick Leary who
Yeah.
for Mariner Muse who wrote a great column on Dave Sims and his time with Seattle and he's moving on to the Yankees, which if you haven't heard, that
Patrick
this is
Lurie is?
bad. No,
Oh,
Dave
Dave Sims.
Sims. Dave Sims, yeah, Yankees Muse.
Yeah.
Um, no, so Dave Sims is that was like the off season news. This is what's spurring
Yeah.
this segment. So uh yeah, I don't think he's I mean, I think Rick Riz is like way better, right? But I don't know how much of that is just like Rick Riz was literally here from the very
Right.
beginning. Um and uh Dave Niehaus is like impossible shoes to fill.
Right.
Um
Here
yeah,
I said to you, I think Dave Sims is a really good guy. It seems like he's a really good guy.
yeah, really nice
I
guy.
was I was not sad to see him go from the Mariner announcing.
Do you think Yankee
Uh
fans are gonna like him?
I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to compare to other cities. I was thinking about even talking about that,
Yeah,
like other cities broadcasters. I struggle with Dave Sims when he's on the radio.
yeah,
He likes to tell a story, but he doesn't tell stories in a way that works pace on the radio. He will say, like you won't know what's happening when he's on the radio.
yeah,
So he'll just say something and I'm like, "Okay, but was that an out?" He's like, "Oh, baby. Oh boy." And you're like, "What? I can't see it, Dave."
yeah,
And part of the problem on television was the chemistry. He was better with other people. Him and Blowers just have no chemistry together. And Blowers and Goldsmith have amazing chemistry.
yeah,
So I'm here for Blowers and Goldsmith on TV. I'm here for Riz and Gary Hill. Throw Gary Hill in the mix on the radio. He's
yeah,
fine. He does
yeah,
a good job. Gary Hill and Goldsmith are funny together on pregame shows. Um, I mean, if they bring somebody in from somewhere else, fine. But Aaron Goldsmith on TV all the time would be just that's an upgrade to me.
yeah,
And Dave Sims, I'm happy he gets to go home to New York. I
yeah.
will never forget the time Kyle Seager hit a home run in New York, and Dave Sims said, "Lloyd, the truck, the ice cream," or whatever he said. That Patrick Leary reference.
Yeah,
Patrick did an awesome job. I was ready to be like, "Good riddance, Dave Sims. Enjoy your time." And
yeah,
Patrick wrote a great column that I texted you and I said that was really good.
yeah,
And
yeah. I thought it was great.
Patrick probably learned that in my class.
Yeah.
We only have people on here in the Substack who are taught by me. So um
Um,
so Dave Sims,
yeah,
he is what it is. Like I agree with Patrick that he had some amazing moments in playoff runs. He was
yeah,
really good on a couple playoff calls. The everyday minutia stuff, like I just don't know what he's talking about half the time. He just kind of
Yeah.
like uses these cliches that don't make sense to me. Maybe that's me. I don't think it is since I've talked to a lot of people who agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think Blowers understands. He's always like, "What?"
Yeah.
Um, so enjoy New York, buddy. It's great.
I really liked that. The final memory I have of him was the call where Randy Arozarena steps out 3 times.
Mm,
And it was a great lead up because it was just silly. And you get to the point of the season where the Mariners are out of the playoff run
yeah,
and you're just watching the game because you're insane like us.
yeah.
And that moment happened, and Dave Sims narrated it pretty good.
He
Like
did a
you
good
felt
job with it.
like you were
Yeah,
watching with someone that you were
yeah,
like just watching the game on the couch or something. So
yeah. When Sims, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Just
yeah,
he had great highs, and then other times I just didn't know what he was
I
trying to
think
say. So
Goldsmith has potential with longevity. I really like Goldsmith. I
yeah,
really like that he like chose to come back when he
yeah,
was offered his dream
yeah,
job in St.
yeah.
Louis. Anybody else? I mean, Riz obviously is legendary. I think he's a Hall of Fame
Riz
broadcaster.
is like
Yeah,
entertaining to me now. Like
yeah,
he's just funny. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah. I think Ryan Roland Smith's fine as a color commentator when he's on. I thought Dan Wilson was good, but I'm actually happy he's still the manager, which is kind of wild that we haven't talked
yeah.
about that. Angie Mentink when she comes on is pretty good. I don't know. They have the fine crew. I'm just happy for more Goldsmith. I'm a big Goldsmith fan.
Me too.
I'm not anti Dave Sims,
Yeah,
but I'm not pro either.
yeah.
Um,
So do you think I'm gonna just change of topics? Is that
okay,
okay with you?
sure. I was gonna ask you about Steve Raible, but that's fine. We can talk about
No,
Steve
no, no,
Raible
no.
another day.
Got a better one for you.
Okay, great.
You think Kevin Calabro just comes
Mm,
back and resumes his role in a
that is
couple
a good one.
years? Just ends his
No,
career? You think he
no, I
sticks with
think
the
he's
Trailblazers?
too. Yeah, I mean, he left the Trailblazers, then he came back. I think he'll be done by then. I think he'll retire again. I think it'll be too late.
He might pull an Ichiro and just do one season.
He could do the inaugural season. Yeah. I
I think that would be
Calabro's
very
peak
meaningful.
is like Felix. Calabro's peak is epic. It's
Yeah.
Felix Hernandez peak.
So when was
But
his peak?
Calabro's now it might be the end of season Felix. I don't know if it works anymore what he tries to do. Oh,
Yeah.
his peak is like 87 to 97. Like that
Okay,
10-year
that's a
time.
long. So even when I was watching Calabro, like in
I
the
mean, he's probably
2000s.
really good. Like the Ray Allen
Yeah.
years, he was good
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like to me, he's been passed nationally by like Kevin Harlan. Like Kevin
Yeah.
Harlan's super good. Ian Eagle's really good. Gus
Yeah.
Johnson is an amazing basketball announcer. He doesn't do
Yeah.
NBA, but you know.
Yeah.
But Calabro's in the Mount Rushmore of Seattle
Yeah.
announcers, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Niehaus and Calabro have to go up there.
Yep.
Um, I'm not putting Steve Raible there.
Yeah. I
I
don't
don't like listening to Raible and Wyman on Seahawks radio. Let me just tell you,
yeah, I don't think
it's
he's
not great.
you compare him to like Bob Rondo, who was really, really
Oh,
like
Bob Rondo's in the Mount Rushmore.
yeah. So I think
Bob
if you
Rondo's awesome.
you compare Bob Rondo to Steve Raible, Bob Rondo's way better. Like I miss Bob Rondo.
So how do you feel? Wait, it's Tony Castacone.
I think he's really
Did
solid.
I say it
Yeah.
right?
And
Castacone. I don't know.
I got to say that because he's a subscriber to the Substack, so he might be
Oh,
listening to this
Tony, I
segment.
apologize for not saying your name right. I think he does a really good job, not because he's a listener,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah, and he had
I enjoy
impossible
listening to
shoes
it.
to
I
fill.
enjoy I think it's Cam Cleveland is with him now. Damon Hewer did it for a long time. I think
Hmm.
it's Cam Cleveland, former tight end, or he was a tight end for the Huskies. They're good. They're objective enough, but they're total homers in the good way that you want when you're
Yeah.
listening. I know what's happening. Whereas Raible kind of falls in the Dave Sims category, and I don't know. This is gonna sound ageist, but like
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to do with that. I don't.
Yeah.
I just Raible will say things, and I'm like, okay, but was it a first down? He's just like, it's like 3rd and 2, and he's like,
Yeah.
Geno, and he's like, oh, okay, and you're like, okay, what?
Yeah.
Like, can you just lead with Geno completes it across the middle of DK Smith or DK Metcalf? 7 yards, first down, then tell me what kind of throw it was, what kind of pressure he was under.
Yeah.
Like if I'm on the radio, I need that. If
All
I'm on
right.
TV, I can see it.
Anything about how do you feel about Dick Fane for the Storm?
I feel like Dick Fane's listening.
You really think he's listening?
I like Dick Fane on the radio with
Yeah.
Softy.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with him on the Storm.
Yeah. I
He's
think,
a he's a big time homer in a not fun way, in my
yeah.
opinion.
It sounds unnatural on
Yes.
TV. It doesn't sound natural on TV. And maybe it's because I'm used to hearing him on the radio.
Right.
I don't know what it
He
is.
sounds to me, he sounds forced. He'll be like, Joel Lloyd from the deep logo. My goodness, is she the greatest player ever? You're like, what is happening? It's 7-4 in the first quarter. Can we relax? Contrary to that, Elise Woodward is elite at her job.
Oh, yeah. She's great.
Elise Woodward on college games, Storm games as a color commentator, and as a sideline reporter for the Huskies. Elise Woodward is, I might put her in the Mount Rushmore. She is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Have any more?
Uh, well, Tony
Oh,
Castricone
I gotta say
does
this. I gotta say this
basketball
quickly.
too. Yeah, go
I gotta
ahead.
say this quickly. The Kraken team, you got to start watching hockey. They're the best of anything we have in Seattle. It's not close.
I mean, they got
They
Linda
are
Cohn, who's
so
like the
Linda Cohn
GOAT.
is not even part of it.
Yeah.
John Forsland, um, I got to make sure I have all their names right. Is the play-by-play? He does national games, so it's like having. I would compare it to, if Kevin Harlan was our play-by-play guy for the Sonics. Okay. And then they have Eddie Olsick is their television analyst, and he is hilarious. They are hilarious together. JT Brown is there sometimes because Eddie also does national games and is a national announcer. So they have like the TNT crew as their home ones. They make fun of each other. They have great comments. They're so good. So, so good.
Have you ever had in college at Santa Clara, did you ever take the mic for anything?
No, I did not. Did you?
Yeah. I tried baseball. It's hard
Yeah.
because you gotta prep. Like you gotta like learn names. You gotta read names. And you have to like basically it's hard. That's all
Yep.
I'm saying. Like play by play is the hard. Color I think is a little easier.
Yeah.
You know, you can especially when you get through the season and you just like know the storylines and you've been watching the teams like but play by
I
play,
I think I
it's
could do
hard.
I would not want to do play by play. And my background for color commentary is probably not great. But I did get offered once to be Bellevue College's men's basketball color commentator.
Yeah.
But I was
Did you
coaching at
say
the time
no?
and I'm like, I can't do this. But
Yeah.
I could do basketball.
I got a that's a cool job offer. Can I
Yeah,
tell you another job offer that I got
of course.
in college? Um, the Seattle Mist needed a journalist, like a official writer.
Wait, the Seattle Mist
The Seattle Mist,
is what type of team, Kev?
the lingerie football team for the Seattle. I
You
didn't
were
even apply for it. They
you
just
were
reached out.
offered to
They
be the
emailed
beat
me.
writer
Yes,
or the website creator
yes, the
for the Seattle
website.
Mist lingerie
Yes,
football team. Kev,
I'm revealing everything this
everything.
episode.
I don't even know what to say. Kev, we were talking about whether we're professional writers earlier,
Yeah.
and I guess that was your calling.
I should dig up that email because it was
That's
ridiculous.
that's amazing.
Um,
That's
Seattle
great.
missed.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go
R.I.P.
Kraken broadcast team number one. I'm gonna
Hmm.
go Husky football number two. I'm gonna throw the Mariners with Aaron Goldsmith leading the way at number three.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put uh well, Sounders doesn't count anymore. It's on Apple TV. And so
yeah.
boo, they're out. Rain, couldn't tell you. No,
Uh,
it's also national. It's not
yeah,
there's no local for those, right?
yeah.
So it's not quite the same. So
I'll just take this moment to shout out to Daniel Sally, who's the women's basketball announcer for the Montana State Bobcats. And he
oh,
has an interesting job. He also is the director of operations. So he's got a double gig where he's
whoa.
like, yeah, and Are you familiar with the Dobo job in college basketball? Do you like know what it is and what they do? Or maybe I should tell our listeners. The
I mean,
Dobo direct.
yeah,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
know things, but you go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Director of basketball operations. They do travel. They do basically everything the coaches logistically like don't have time to do to keep the train running. So travel. Um, sometimes that involves like video exchange. Um,
Do you think it's
you
harder to
know,
do what he does or to be a podcaster and a parent?
definitely what he does because he has 12 kids and
Oh,
the
fair.
coaches to manage.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. But shout out to Daniel if
All
you're
right, Kev,
listening.
you have a surprise top five for me this week.
Yeah. Okay, so the Seahawks are 6-5. Or no, 5-5. Did I get that right?
They're 5-5.
They're
They're one
five and
game out of
five.
first place.
In front of me, I have playoff odds for
Oh
all
yeah.
of the teams,
Yeah, let's go.
and it was last updated at 8:30, so it took
NFC
into account
teams
um
or NFC West or what?
all the teams in the NFL.
Okay.
Right. Um,
Do I get to guess?
and I'm going to name a team, and you're gonna have to tell me if they have better odds than the Seahawks
Okay.
or worse odds.
Better being more likely to make the playoffs.
More likely to make the playoffs.
Okay.
All right.
I feel like we did this once before, but I like it.
We
Let's go.
didn't do it with playoff odds for the Seahawks, though. We might have done it with the Mariners.
Yeah, I think we did.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Worse.
Better.
That's stupid. I don't think you're right.
You don't think I'm right?
No, but that's okay. Go to the next one.
New York Saints. New Orleans
No,
Saints.
worse.
Yes. I'll read their projected records too. Saints have a 7-10 projected record. Bengals have an 8-9 projected
What's
record.
your source?
The Athletic.
Mm,
So they have a
all right.
model.
All right. They have
Um,
odds on the Athletic.
they have yes, they have playoff odds
All
like
right.
percentage wise.
So it's not like FanDuel betting odds.
Oh, you want like
Of course, that's where my mind's going to go. But
oh
that's okay. Now
yeah
I
yeah.
understand the model. Go ahead.
All right, 49ers.
Better.
Yes, better projected record of 9-8.
I knew that one. Yeah.
How about
Niners have ridiculous betting odds too, even though they're 5-5 and 0-3 in the division.
so that's three teams. I'll give you. How about the Rams?
Better.
Better.
Yeah.
Yep. Better than the Niners?
No.
Yeah, better than the Niners.
That's stupid.
28% chance of making the playoffs, which is not that high.
Interesting.
Okay.
One
And
more.
then we'll finish with ooh. Let's go with the Broncos, who the Seahawks beat in week 1.
Broncos are tricky. They should have better odds, but I'm gonna say it's worse because I know they have an interesting schedule.
They have much better odds.
Oh, all right. I blew that
They
one.
have better odds than the Rams, so they're at 48% now.
It
With a
makes, I mean, they
9-8
have a
projected
2 game
record.
lead,
Yeah.
whereas the Rams aren't even in the playoffs, so that makes
Yeah.
sense. The Broncos do play the Colts, who are 1 game behind them, I believe, and they also play the Bengals, who you talked about
Yeah.
earlier. So
Yeah.
there'll be some interesting games at the end of the year. I mean, the
So,
Seahawks play the Cardinals this week, and I saw a headline that said basically, or a part of an article, that if they lose to the Cardinals, they're just basically undid the win they had against San Francisco.
yeah.
Like they have to go beat the Cardinals, which is true because they're 1-2 in the division. And I think the Cardinals are 3-0. So
Yeah.
you've got to go sweep the Cardinals and you got to beat the Rams again.
Yeah. So the Seahawks are at 12% playoff odds with an 8-9 projected record.
Okay.
Um,
So they're 5-5. They've they got to beat the Cardinals twice and they got to beat the Rams. That's 3. That would get them to 8. And then
yeah.
they have to beat they play the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears, and I'm missing somebody that I don't remember. But I know they
Yeah.
play those 3
I
teams.
mean, even if they go 6-1, I don't know if that's enough with how bad, right?
They'll
So
have
it's
11 wins. Of course they'll make the playoffs if they go 6-1.
6-1. Okay,
They'll have
5.
11
Okay, so
wins.
it's dicey though if it's 5, right? Because then
10
you're
and
only at
7,
10 and
10 and
7. Yeah.
7 as a wild card would be tricky. They could be a
Yeah.
division winner though. I think
Yeah.
they have to win the division, hence why they have to sweep the Cardinals,
Yeah.
which they can do. I think the Cardinals are good. I think it's very possible they could beat the Seahawks, but the Seahawks do not have to play the Niners again, and I'm very happy about that. Let me give you
Uh,
a top five, Kev, for fun.
all right, bring it.
Totally different subject. Okay. I was thinking about Skylar Diggins Smith and her signing in Seattle. And I want us to just come up with, off the top of our head, no research. It'd be
Yeah.
more fun this way. The worst five free agent signings in Seattle sports history.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, got to start with Sean Figgins.
Sean Figgins, Chone Sean. Yep.
Sean Figgins.
Yeah, Sean Figgins was terrible. There's one. What else
Um,
do we have?
God, I really want to say Vin Baker with the amount of
That's a
expectations,
trade,
but you
right?
ranked him in the
Not a
top one. So
not a
yeah,
free
that was
agent signing.
trade.
It's a trade, but
Doesn't count.
I mean, obviously, Vin Baker, Sean Kemp didn't work out after that. The Eric Bedard trade is at the top of everybody's list.
Yeah.
Um, Free agent signings are trickier. I'm going to count Jim McElvain as part of this. So in 1996, Jim McElvain signed a 7-year, $333.6 million deal with the Sonics.
Yeah.
And it has been described by many on the internet as a franchise destroyer because that is what led Sean Kemp to want to be traded. Because Sean Kemp was like, if this guy who sucks gets this money, where's my money? And Jim McElvain was not good. It might be the worst of all time in Seattle sports history.
I'm doing like research as you're speaking because I
We have Sean Figgins. We have Jim McElvain.
how about
Skylar Diggins Smith is on the list. I don't know.
how about Matt Flynn?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
19.5 million for 3 years, and he didn't even play for them at all.
Yeah, you can defend Matt Flynn, right? Like, I don't know if you could defend Jim McElvain. You can even defend Sean Figgins. He was an all-star before that. But Matt Flynn, like they were trying to get a quarterback. Who knew Russell was going to be Russell?
Yeah,
Besides
that's
you,
true.
Kev. Besides you.
Yeah.
You did predict him to be the starting quarterback in our old podcast version. So it's pretty good.
We're at three. What are we at?
We got three. Yeah.
We got
Let's see if we can
three.
get a couple more. I'm gonna go back to the Sonics. My guy Calvin Booth. They were terrible at signing centers.
They had like
So
20 of them.
Calvin Booth,
Yeah.
6 years, 34 million.
They paid that man 34 million.
Yeah, dude. He
That
averaged
was
7.5
horrible.
points per game. This was after Jim McElvain. Calvin
Man,
Booth was a terrible signing.
damn.
So, I mean, it's gonna go between Sonics and Mariners.
Dude, he got away with robbery, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. You want some more Mariners? I mean,
You're gonna make everyone sad. I mean, just look at the 2008 roster. Take your pick.
here's the thing. I would still people say that the Richie Sexton deal was bad.
Nah, he had a bunch of home runs.
He had a bunch of home runs. He was fine. So I'm not gonna go with Richie Sexton. Um, how about Jared Washburn? Carlos Silva was worse. Carlos
Dude,
Silva, 4 years,
he was
48 million. Carlos Silva was an absolutely atrocious pitcher. I wrote about this on old websites that I used to screw around on. Carlos Silva, one of the worst. So we got Silva, Booth, McElvain, Sean Figgins. We need a fifth.
damn. There's got to be
We got to have a Seahawk.
yeah, really bad Seahawk.
How about, oh man, there's so many bad Mariners. How about 3 years, 24 million for Miguel Batista?
You're looking at that 2008 roster, aren't you?
It's around that time. Actually, it's before then.
Yeah,
There's
he's
the
on that
Carlos
2000.
Silva. It's
Yeah.
terrible. You know what? There's one that is TJ Hushmanzada.
Oh yeah, that
Five
was
years,
the
40 million.
during the Jim Moore year.
He got cut 5 months later. That's a
Yeah,
bad one.
that was bad.
So you sign him to a 5-year, $40 million deal, and he gets cut in the first season he's playing for the Seahawks. There you go.
Patrick
Top
Kearney.
five, baby. Patrick Kearney had a one good
No,
year.
no, no,
He's
no, not
like,
Kearney. Not Kearney. Sorry,
who are you thinking
I
of?
read that wrong.
Aaron Curry? That was a draft pick. We can do draft picks. We should
There.
do that. We should do a list on the site, Substack,
Yeah.
worst draft picks of all time in Seattle sports history. Then we could do a best one too. But
Yeah. Coming up with ideas. Speaking of what's coming up on the Substack,
yep.
Husky bye week. So I might cook up.
Wait, they have a bye this week?
Yeah,
Oh,
both them in Oregon. So Big Ten power rankings, some picks, and maybe some Husky basketball.
ugh, I don't know what you're gonna write about, but I'll do takeaways from the Seahawks Niners, which will be more fun this week. Maybe Christine
Yeah.
will read it, and then I will preview the Seahawks
Who do they play
home
this week?
home game against Arizona. It's huge. I
Nice.
mean, every game's the game of the year now, but I mean, this is like I think I said to you last week, they have if they have any chance, they have to go beat the 49ers, which I didn't think they could do. And then they got to beat Arizona. They beat Arizona, Kev. They're in first place,
Yeah.
no matter what anybody else does. I think that's true. They might be tied with the Rams, depending on. But
When's your first? Yeah.
The Rams have a hard schedule coming up.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of schedules, when's your first fifth grade basketball
oh, dog, we're 2 and
game?
0. We're 2 and 0, bud.
Oh, you're already 2-0.
Yeah, like I can complain all I want. We're boat racing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got
We
you.
are we are fully in the mode of we go up and I have to call off the dogs so that we don't win by too much in CYO land.
That's good. That's good because
Yeah.
we don't want any of these special meetings convened because there's one team and one coach that doesn't get the picture of what it's all about.
No, I get it. I get it. We want all the kids to have a good time.
Yeah.
We want all the kids to learn basketball, especially in fifth grade. It's important that they learn how to play the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am very respectful of everyone.
Yeah.
And
Do you have personal relationships with the volunteer referee? Or no, they're not volunteers. They get paid with
they
the
get paid,
referees.
but in
Do you know them?
both fifth grade games, I have known the referees.
Yeah,
Yes.
figures. The basketball community is pretty
I
small.
have known them and it is a very small community.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm also assisting an eighth grade team, Kev. So I'm filling my time with CYO
They're
basketball.
probably like, "Are you on probation from prep? Why are you down in the minors right now?"
People who know I step back from coaching are like, I thought you were taking, what are you doing here? And other people just say things like, I don't know, they'll make some joke about
Yeah.
coaching and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun. It is fun.
Yeah.
I get to coach both my kids. It's a great experience to do that. It's a very different experience. That's part of the reason I'm not coaching high school anymore is to spend time with
Yeah.
my kids, which is great, just
Yeah.
like
You get to
you know,
spend time with me too, which I'm very grateful for.
oh, Kev, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So we'll end on that
I was
note.
gonna make a joke about
Yeah.
somebody spending time with their kid and Bo Nix or something, but I couldn't pull it off.
We're
Like
gonna have a
Michael,
Thanksgiving
like Michael
episode.
Penix spending time with his child Bo Nix because he's his daddy.
Yeah, except Knicks blew him out and then Penix got to play.
Yeah, Bo Nix is actually kind of good now. So it doesn't
He's
quite work.
he's becoming
I was
the
trying to
second
get us
coming of
going
Justin
for Oregon,
Herbert.
Washington,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
but
yeah, not gonna work.
yeah. Well, Thanksgiving's coming. It's coming
Yeah, we'll
soon.
have a Thanksgiving episode. We'll plan
Yeah,
it out, but we're gonna
yeah.
talk about some things we're thankful for. It won't be too
That's
corny. It'll be good.
yeah. We'll make plenty of jokes and maybe we'll reveal more of Kev's rap names. All right.
All
See you
right, see you
next
next
week.
week.